Hello and welcome back to Dwarf Fortress. And we have, in the previous episode, we went through sort of why it had been radio silence on the channel for a while, which sadly was some private things that had to be dealt with, which I couldn't really... And also, me trying to figure out what to do next, which, well, now... If you watched the previous episode, you know it's Dwarf Fortress. And here we are. We also went through the how to create and generate a new world and how to pick your spot for where your settlement is going to be. And also the few things you need to think about when you have actually settled in and started playing. Basically where we are right now. And that is, if we just briefly go over that again. It is in the wagon, which we come with, is a bunch of stuff we need. There's loads of stuff. There's an anvil, there's some weapons and tools and wine, because dwarves don't drink anything other than like alcohol. They do drink water, but only as a last resort. And yeah, through a few splints and crutches and a few other things. Not sure what the step ladder is for. The wheelbarrow is good, that one is good, but I'm not 100% sure what the step ladder is for, to be perfectly honest. In terms of what it actually does in the game. But yeah, what we did was we placed a stockpile to move everything from that wagon into the stockpile. And what you do to place one is basically go down on the hotbar, place stockpiles for item storage, which is hotkey P, and then click that, boom, boom. And then you have to click accept for it to actually set. I will remove that, and there we go. And we also designated where the staircase is going to go. Hopefully we don't hit any caverns on our way down, and I also made sure that we are somewhat close to where the stream is, so we can fish and actually bring water in somewhat easier than we otherwise would. So let's click space to start playing again. So they are moving everything from that down here. It's going to take a bit of time, so I think we need to just let them do that. And yeah, we can see here which items they are trying to move because of this icon. This item is tagged by a task and will not be used by other tasks. They will move this as quickly as they can. Now, one thing that we need to do, and I will pause this because it's fairly important, and on the left here, we will get notifications, sort of like this one. There's nothing to catch in the eastern swamps. In expand, we can also center around where that is. It's over there. I'm not surprised we can't catch anything in that. Let's right click on that to remove it. And yeah, what we need to do is click on the crown. Open the nobles and administrators menu. Nobles and administrators. Here you can view your nobles. as well as assign your administrators, military leaders, and other officials. Militia commanders are assigned here. Once the first leader is assigned, subsequent captain positions will appear. They can also be assigned from the squad menu. Certain important functions in your fortress can only be performed by assigned administrators, such as the manager and bookkeeper. Once they are assigned, you can create work orders, run a hospital, and count and appraise your hoard. Nobles and certain administrators require rooms, and some may also make demands. Yeah, so that's really important to take note of, is that once you grow and once you get more and more of these filled out, and when noble starts appearing and starts demanding, it's going to get increasingly harder to keep everybody happy. So the manager is what we need to assign immediately. So let's click on that plus. And the person we have at the moment happens to be the expedition leader, who is an adequate organizer. Everyone else has no relevant skills. That doesn't stop them from doing this job. It's just that they're going to be a lot less efficient and do a less good job, so to speak. The job done is not going to be as good as someone with a skill. So let's assign you for the time being. It says that he needs a major study. That is not true until we grow a bit. We are actually small enough of a settlement that any demands over here doesn't really apply. Of course, if we can get a study for him as soon as possible, that is what we want. But for the time being, we don't really need to do that. The reason why we want the manager is because work orders. Work orders are used to automate tasks in workshops. These work orders are set to complete a certain number of tasks and can be given start conditions. For instance, you can create an order to make wooden bins if you're out of empty ones, to brew drinks if you are running low, or to make 5 statues every month. You can limit work orders to a number of workshops. You can also create work orders at specific workshops from the building sheet. The system is reasonably powerful, and you can eventually automate almost all of your production if you wish. We want to try to do that, but you also need to be very careful about doing that, because you might come to a situation where no one is doing anything because they're trying to do these automated tasks that you have set up, so they don't have time to do anything else. So we do need to be a bit careful with how we set these automated tasks and don't do too many of them. But we have at least assigned the manager, so we can, as soon as we want to, we can set a few of these to be done. And that's important. Another thing we want to do fairly quickly is also this trade depot. Now, we could select material after placement. So we have this ghost image, which we then see so we know where to place things. If we left click, we now get indication where we don't have that. Okay, so we need to wait until we have moved everything, I think. Let's do that. How much more? Actually not that much more left to move. That's good. So yeah. Once we have moved everything and sort of done that. And yeah, they move the animals into the designated pen area. It's almost empty. Once this is empty fully, we will could you please move everything? Like today? There we go. And what we can do now, it's now fully empty. We could, technically speaking, have done this before, but we can now click on this house with a red like circle and a cross around it to remove the building. And that is how you remove things. Oh, started digging down. Good. So this one dwarf, because if we go into the labor menu, work details are one way you can control which workers do which tasks. So you can control them, what they do and what they don't do, and what they are. And they are the only way to assign certain tasks like mining, woodcutting, hunting, and fishing. Generally, almost every task will be available for every citizen, but you can both restrict both citizens and tasks. Citizens are restricted by using their specialization button. Tasks are restricted by setting their work detail to only selected to do this. If a task does not have a default work detail, you can create a custom work detail. Once you assign citizens to the task, you can then set only selected to do this, if you want to restrict it. So yeah, you can. And mining and wood cutting is, and I think fishing, yeah, and hunting is a few things by default that is only set to those that are like selected to do it, which is done with the this checkbox here. So yeah, and one thing that you want to do, this is super important, which I actually forgot slightly, is go to the labor menu and then go to stone use. Click on that, and under economic stone you want to make sure to untick all of the green boxes here. Any green box in this economic stone has to be unchecked, because economic stone is basically like your iron ore, like metal ore, your special like coal and things to make plaster powder, to make casts and stuff. All of the things you need to actually basically make important things that cannot be made with regular stone, so to speak. Everything else is like, for example, clay stone is a non-economic stone, so it's a regular one. But for example, if you remember, chalk was actually allowed to use as if it was any of these stones. So that's important, to go into economic stone, look at everything single checkbox here and make sure there isn't a green check mark. Make sure that they are all empty. That is super important. And right, you can, by using the function keys, so F1 for example, will center us around where the wagon is. Now I want to move that because I want to be able to quickly get up to the top of where my staircase is immediately by pressing F1. So let's move the mouse, or rather the view, with WASD to where it is. We scroll wheel to the correct elevation, which is in this case is 40. Might be different for you if you're playing, but just move around until you have it like this and click on this up here in the top right, just left of the minimap, or you can press hotkey H. Edit the recenter hotkey locations, which opens up this, and wagon arrival location, which is the F1. Now, recenter on this location. We don't want to click that because that just bumps us back up where the wagon is. We want to, the one to just to the right, set this entry to recenter on the current view. Boom! The elevation changed and the position changed. So if we right click out of that and I move away and actually also change the elevation a bit, press F1 and boom! We are back to where we set it. So that's something you might want to do. You have a fair number of them. And you can rename them if you want. I don't really care about that. So let's see if we can... now we should be able to do that. What I want to do is just add in like that. There we go. That's where the trees was. So, but if we go in on place structures and work areas that require construction materials, so hotkey B, build, and click on trade depot. Now, if we click on just as it is by default, select material after placement, we get this after left clicking where we want it to be, and we can actually say that, oh yeah, we want to build out of this and this. I don't really care. So what I would suggest you do, if you don't care about what material you use, is use closest material and add keep building after placement. That means you can place more and more without having to open up the menu once again. I just want to place one, but I usually just tick that box because usually I want to place more. So that's where I want it. I right click and yeah, so it will take anything that is close and build that. They are moving things in. And slowly but surely, there we go. The trade depot is now done. Now, if we also click on this, recenter on the deepest discovered area at this location, which brings us all the way at sort of the deepest part we have discovered, which usually is how far down you have dug, usually. So yeah, we are slowly but surely digging our way down. Now exactly where I want to build my sort of houses and things, I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure exactly where or how I want to do this. Now you could do just a single staircase, just one square staircase. I wouldn't recommend it because from what I've heard and what I've experienced so far is that the dwarves does need a bit of space to move around, and if they are they can bump into each other, and if there's not space in the staircases up and down, there will be difficulties for them to move around. So that's why you want at least a 2x2 like this. So 4 staircases. You might even want to make it 3x3. But yeah, we have struck like bituminous coal, hematite, and a fair chunk of things already. Limonite. It's an iron-bearing stone, as well as hematite. And yeah, I think what we want to do is I want to set an order to zoom out by like that, designate some plant gathering, and also slightly more wood cutting, and I think I might want to start looking at, let's see, level 16 is completely underground, but I wonder if I let's see, it's 40. Now exactly how far down you go before you start making rooms and stuff depends a bit on the elevation and what you find and so on. But I think what I want to do is actually I want to expand into a 3x3. Because I don't think I have a cavern just yet. Anywhere. At least I hope so. Yeah, and they will... what we could do to make sure that the mining is getting done is actually click that hammer. That green hammer turns into red, which means they will only mine. They will only do that one job. Forcing the miner to mine is, I think, not a bad idea. Let's do that. Struck hematite. And yeah, this game is really, really complex and really, there's a lot of things to... In the beginning, it's usually, especially with my settings for the world, where I have turned off like outside enemies and enemies in general. It's very lax in the beginning, but you sort of need to get started with building, like digging down and building your quarters, like where you're going to sleep and where you're going to eat and stuff. Fairly quickly. You can't really dilly-dally too much. Because you need to start getting like production up. Because the drink you come with is not going to last forever. It's really not going to last forever. And one thing that I also need to do is see if I can, let's see here. Fire clay. Silty clay loam. Yeah, at one level, at some level I do need to have farming going on. Exactly where, I am not 100% sure. But with that now done, I think what I should do... Fire clay wall. Let's open up that. Just a normal digging. Not the stairwell. And we will dig out one space here. Fire clay cavern. So if we go into the building and click workshops and farming and then farm plot, it's really faint if I zoom in a bit and you look at that space we dug out and I mouse over, you can see there is a very slight but still a ghost image of a farm, tilled farm area. So I can farm on this. That's good to know. Yeah, let's do that. Because it's the kind of like clay soil, it's pretty quick when it comes to mining. Stone takes more time. So let's do farm plot and set out like that. Like that. Now, one thing that I do feel I need to, because if I open up this, we have this this cursor here, and if I use my arrow keys, I can move this. There is a reason why that is there. And if we go into settings and we go to, I think it's game. Right, keyboard cursor enabled. This is by default turned off. You don't probably not going to have any problems with it being off, but one thing, once I start making the rooms, I will sort of automate the creation and like the dig designation for those, and that requires the keyboard cursor to be enabled. So just a heads up there. And yeah, so we have done that. That is really important. What I will do is go down to 25. Add, oops. Remove that. Do that because this is where the bedrooms are going to be. So we will do bedrooms, center, and I think going up to 30, I am going to have maybe I should move those around. Anyway, let's say bed rooms. And let's go back up to 30 again and say crafting room, or just crafting, and recenter. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. And let's do the same thing. Whoops, not right. Always do the designation, try or at least try to have the game paused when you do it, so in case you make any mistakes, especially later on when your settlement is a lot bigger and you have a lot of dwarves going around doing things. Having the game paused when you do this makes it a lot easier and eventual mistakes can be fixed before they even become a mistake. So I think we need to end here so we can continue the next episode. So we are slowly getting started. We have the farming going soon, and we are preparing to sort of actually get the crafting room and the bedrooms sort of dug out and made. So I think with that we will just say that on screen you should be able to see YouTube recommendation, quick access to subscribe button, and quick access to the playlist for the series. And since I have forgotten about this completely, don't forget to like the video. So with that, thanks for watching, goodbye, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.